Individual and family passes are available. Not a student? It's a great way for adults and seniors to relax poolside. Don't let the heat keep you and your family from diving into fun this summer. Visit hcparkandrec.com for details and see you at the pool.
It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com. You know, we've begun a new month. The month of May is among very many designations. It's Salad Month. It's Hamburger Month. It's also Mental Health Awareness Month, and we're not talking salads or hamburgers right now. We're talking mental health, and we've got the Community Guidance Center here to help us in our conversation. Shelley Nippes, Sean Brisbane, and Colin Nordby with us this morning in the studio. For our Facebook viewers, if each of you could sort of tell us who you all are. Shelley is pretty easy to figure out.
Yeah, go ahead, Shelley. Shelley, start it off. I'm Sean Brisbane. I'm the Chief Operations Officer at the Community Guidance Center.
Uh-huh.
I'm Colin Nordby. I'm the Director of the Base Service Unit and the Outpatient Mental Health Department here at the Community Guidance Center.
Let us start, and Shelley, maybe you can sort of lead us off here this morning. Let us start by telling folks what the Community Guidance Center actually is.
We are a
Come on closer to the microphone.
We are a community mental health agency, so we service Indiana County. Mm-hmm. We provide outpatient mental health, and we have other programs. We have an adult partial, which is a step-down program, and you guys can correct me if I'm speaking out of school. We have an alpha program, which is for students, which is a mental health program, but there's an educational component to it. Mm-hmm. We have a full complement of psych services, so we have psychiatry on staff for those consumers that need that level of care. Case management, which is like a resource coordination. We do developmental and intellectual disabilities supports. Family-based therapies, where the therapists will go into the family home to help the child, and the family is encouraged to join.
Uh-huh.
And then we have a non-clinical program, which is a psych rehab program that helps in transition and helps people integrate learning social skills and daily living skills. So quite a few programs up on the hill.
Sort of approaching mental health from every angle that you possibly can think of, really, when you get right down to it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Full continuum of care.
Yeah. And that's the amazing thing about it. There can be, and we hear the stats all the time about mental health and mental illness and how many people suffer from it. And the different types and all of those things. But there can be all kinds of barriers to people seeking treatment for mental health. And Colin, Sean, maybe you could help us to understand some of those barriers. One of those is, of course, that we hear it all the time, the word stigma. There is a stigma that is attached to somebody who is seeking treatment for mental illness or having mental health problems. Is there not?
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we come across it all the time. People don't want to get into treatment or are concerned, what family members will think or what colleagues will think or friends, and there's a lot of, unfortunately, still judgment surrounding the whole idea of mental health.
Yeah, yeah.
And it touches, every socioeconomic level. It doesn't matter what socioeconomic level you're on. Mental health affects everyone. And, it says 1 in 5 people suffer from mental illness, and only half of those people get treatment. Mm-hmm. But I believe it's 5 out of 5. I believe it's 100% of people are affected by mental health.
Yeah.
Whether it's them personally or secondary, it affects everyone. It's a family. It's a family struggle. Mm-hmm. So everyone has to be on board supporting.
And particularly from the Community Guidance Center angle, for a lot of people seeking treatment for mental illness or for mental health concerns has an economic side to it. They say to themselves, I can't afford to do that. I can't afford to take the time off. I can't afford what would be a very costly venture just in seeking mental health treatment. I can't afford the investment of time. Community Guidance Center takes care of a lot of that, don't you?
Yeah, we do, especially with the base services unit. We have county funding available for individuals that don't have health insurance, so we can get people into services. We accept most major insurance carriers. One of the big things that I always told people is, it's not any different than going to your PCP. If you're going to get checked out for, your heart or your annual physical, that's a commitment you make to your physical health. This is the same sort of thing for the mental health. It's just as important, to make sure that we're getting that checked out and to follow up on as well.
And to piggyback off that, I said just last night I was talking to a friend. He's a pretty high-level professional and was nervous about going to a facility to receive mental health. And I said, it's 2024. There's awareness now. There's compassion now. People get it. And, with telehealth, you don't even have to go anymore. You could stay in the comfort of your home and get services. But it should be no different than having a gym membership to LA Fitness or Planet Fitness and going to your PCP. It should be part of your, holistic approach to overall wellness.
Yeah. Yeah. And to feed off of that, there's certainly a fear that is involved, not only with what others might think of you or about the economics of it, but there's a fear also of what am I going to find out about myself that maybe I don't even want to know. What is at the root of what my problem is? Maybe I don't want to explore that deeply into myself.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, we some people certainly run into that in treatment, and it can be scary, most certainly. But I think ultimately going at it from the right lens, from the right approach, can be a safe journey and can be something worthwhile to explore and kind of get to some of those answers and hopefully overcome some of the difficulties that might come from that.
Defining mental health and defining mental illness can be difficult as well. And we might be surprised at what really qualifies as mental health or unhealthy mental behaviors or mental states in which we find ourselves. Yeah, people suffer from panic attacks. The mental component of that is extremely important and treatable. People can. There are all kinds of different ways that mental illness can manifest itself. Are there not?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, you can see it, every day. Just us being a little bit nervous coming here to do this radio show today.
What?
Yeah.
The whole way up,
absolutely.
the whole way up to the more significant side of things when you're talking about things like bipolar, schizophrenia. It's a wide array, wide continuum of what you might see with someone who's experiencing some mental health difficulties.
And it's, people wonder, people that are uninformed about it or kind of are leaning towards the stigma side of like, this is a negative outlook if I go to therapy.
Just put your big girl pants on.
What is therapy? And, to boil it down in my perspective as a therapist, we all have a puzzle. And when you come into therapy, we dump that puzzle pieces out and we sit together as a team and we start putting that puzzle together to make it clear.
Yeah.
A more beautiful picture.
It's a good way to portray that. I like that. Let's talk about steps, because when somebody is suffering from a mental health problem, it probably, I would assume with everybody, there are a number of steps they take themselves through before they finally decide, I'm going to seek help. What are those steps, and what's the very first? Granting that it's different with every person.
Yeah, there's a lot of internal steps that I think people struggle through, from the acceptance that they might be struggling with something to the ability and willingness to say something out loud to someone. I think oftentimes the first step is seek out a friend, seek out a family member, someone that you can confide in, just to get some support, to reach out to someone, and then from there it's making a phone call.
Yeah, and the pre-contemplative stage of change, and then contemplative stage of change, and then action, and then maintenance. That's the stages of change. So in pre-contemplative, people are telling me that they've noticed changes in me. You're staying in, you're not going out, you're not socializing, you're in the dark room a lot, you're sleeping more, you're eating less. Those are just some symptoms. And then I start to realize, like, okay, a lot of people are telling me this. So then you're in the contemplative stage of change, and it's like, okay, maybe they're right. And then it's action. Then it's, getting, like you said, maybe a friend, maybe a family member, somebody to have the compassionate inquiry to say, like, not what is wrong with you, not what is wrong with you, what happened to you, what's going on? Tell me your story.
Yeah.
You could say that to a stranger. You could help anybody. You see somebody down at the gas station, you could say, how are you? And, if you can read their body language, any person can be a helper. I think that's what I want to communicate with everybody. Like, you don't have to be a licensed therapist or a doctor to be a helper.
Yeah.
Anyone can help with compassionate inquiry, which is asking what happened to you.
Yeah. Colin Nordby, Sean Brisbane, Shelley Nippes with us this morning, the Community Guidance Center. You all have your green on. Green is a color that is associated with Mental Health Awareness Month, is it not?
Symbolizes hope.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the main message to get through to a lot of people is, your situation is not hopeless. And people will withdraw into themselves when they have a problem going on. And a lot of it has to do with the environment in which they were raised, the type of personalities they're surrounded with, things within their own selves. And we understand that. Breakthroughs are necessary for a lot of folks. And Community Guidance Center is all about those breakthroughs, is it not?
Most certainly.
You are not your diagnosis.
No, it's okay to not be okay. We all have those days, those moments, and we just want everyone to know that it's okay to not be okay and to reach out and ask someone for help.
Yeah.
And yeah, to anyone, listening to this or hearing this at home, if you haven't made the step, like it is life changing to actually, care for yourself enough to get the help.
Yeah.
More people need help than anyone even understands. That person that you see smiling or laughing, or that might be the person that needs help the most.
Mm-hmm. And people around, they're a big part of this. The people who surround somebody, they notice changes in behavior, yes, but they might notice that for instance, a flash of anger that becomes more common. Mm-hmm. They might notice that somebody seems overly exuberant all of a sudden, and that can be a sign that something is going on within themselves. The path to health is such a varying path. It for every single person, it's different, and it's not the same. So that's where you guys all come in. So how does someone avail themselves of the services of the Community Guidance Center? What's the typical way that people contact you?
Typically, it's a phone call. We get calls on a daily basis for individuals seeking out services. We get referrals from primary care providers. It's just letting someone that you're involved with know, whether it be your primary care physician or
Picking the phone up, calling
yeah.
the office.
And we can, get you in, do an intake, help determine what might be the best fit for you in terms of services, and get someone started to get them some of the help that they need.
Yeah. All starts with recognition, doesn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. Recognizing that there is a problem. And sometimes it takes somebody in your life to convince you of that. And sometimes it's something that you can finally convince yourself of. But you got to do it. Got to do it. Telephone numbers, contact websites, social media, all of those a part of Community Guidance Center?
They are. There's a toll-free number that is answered 888-686-1991, or even locally 724-465-5576. Phone calling is the best way. I mean, you can go to the website, but we don't book appointments on the website
Yeah.
due to the nature of our business. And social media, again, we are on Facebook, but we don't like to respond to messages. We like the voice.
Sure. Establishing that line of communication right off the bat. Well, it's been good having you with us here today. Can I get you back at some point later in the month?
Sure.
It's Mental Health Month, and we'll arrange that and see if we can't get you to come back and visit with us
Great, that'd
again.
be great.
Sounds great.
Terrific.
Thank you very much, Todd.
Thanks for
Our
having me.
pleasure.
Thanks, Todd.
It's the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, WCCSradio.com. We're a little late getting to Boomer Sports, but this was a good conversation to have, our conversation with the folks from Community Guidance Center. Boomer, brought to you by S&T Bank.